Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 22nd May 2025. So let's get started with our discussion, and I want to make a small announcement, and students who want to take this offline GS Foundation course, we are conducting scholarship test for offline students from 27th. Okay, on 27th at exactly 10 a.m. So we are conducting test, and this test contains 50 questions which are from your basic NCERTs from 6 to 12 standard, from subjects like polity, history, geography and economy, and even environment and ecology. We are covering 5 subjects and you will be having 10 questions in each subject, and based on your performance you will be getting scholarship guys. And if you want to take this offline scholarship test, please do register, and the registration form is given in the description of this class. Don't forget. Okay, now let us see the first article. See this guys. Top Maoist among 27 killed in Chhattisgarh. So what is happening in Chhattisgarh? So recently one operation, what is the name of that operation? Operation Sankalp. Okay, so recently Operation Sankalp started, and this Operation Sankalp is about eliminating Maoism in this Telangana and Chhattisgarh region. So in this operation, finally very important person who is belonging to that so and so was killed yesterday. So because of this is a news, and most of the today's articles are based on that person and as well as this operation. So how you can expect a question? So Maoism or Naxalism is part of your mains or prelims? It is part of your mains. Okay, the keyword you have to see is Naxalism or Maoism. And can anyone tell me other name of this Naxalism or Maoism? Yes, Maoism or left-wing extremism. So these three are same, don't confuse. And in which subject we have this Naxalism, Maoism and this LWE? In GS paper 3 under internal security. Okay, now let us see the dimensions. What you have to see? First of all, you have to understand meaning of this Naxalism. And next one is you have to see what is the ideology of this people. So if you have seen like very old movies, especially I will give some examples of Telugu movies like Osai Ram Lamma movie or some movie's name. Can anyone tell me the movie name? Very old movies. So which are based on this ideology of Naxalism or Maoism, and there are very famous songs also which are about this Naxalism or Maoism. So don't you know Karnataka people? Okay, let it be. So first you have to know this meaning, ideology, and next you have to see which regions are affected in India. So this region especially called as Red Corridor. Okay, Red Corridor, you have to see those regions where, and try to draw map also, and you have to show that. And next you have to see what are the causes of this Naxalism or Maoism. And next you have to see what is the impact, and last will be your measures. And not only measures, now you have to see operations. So which are the operations done? And not only operations, different states have their own battalion which will be dealing with this Naxalism, right? For example, we have Cobra and we have Greyhounds. So recently we discussed about this Greyhounds, right? So 4 people who belonged to this Greyhounds died in recent operations. So you have to see about forces which are fighting against only this Maoism. And recently our Ministry of Home Affairs also gave a statement regarding Naxalism. Can anyone recall that? By 2026 we are going to eliminate Naxalism in India. Okay, so like that you have to recollect what is happening in the recent past. Okay, all these things that you have to see, and this is very very important from your mains this year, especially 2025 students and also 2026 students. For sure you will be getting question here because of Ministry of Home Affairs statement. We are going to end this Naxalism by 2026, and lots of operations which are going on, especially in this states of Chhattisgarh and Telangana, to eliminate this Naxalism. So because of this you can expect. And in prelims, you can expect questions regarding the forces, and names of different operations. These two areas for prelims and remaining all the other dimensions for your mains. Okay. Yeah, that is the thing. And actually in 2024, UPSC mains, in ethics they gave a case study regarding this Naxalism. So even from ethics also there is a high chance of getting case study regarding Naxalism. So how you can get a question is, assume that you are IPS officer and you posted in this Buster region. So there are certain areas which are very famous for Naxalism in this Chhattisgarh and they give that name. For example, Buster region of Chhattisgarh. And many reports are coming, intelligence report that Naxals are going to attack your police station. And what are the steps that you will take to control Naxalism and how can you eliminate this Naxalism entirely in your so-and-so district. So you have to be very much ready with measures and what steps that you can take. So if you want to take any steps, first you have to know about what are the causes. So if you know causes and if you are focusing on the causes, that will lead to 100% solution for that problem. Okay, always focus on that. Okay, let us see this article. So 27 Maoists including Namba Keshav Rao alias Basavaraju, who is General Secretary of banned Communist Party of India Maoist, were gunned down. Around 27 people including this very famous personality who is General Secretary also died in this anti-Naxal operation. So because of this, this is in news and most of the articles in your newspaper are about this so-and-so person. Okay, so if you see about this Naxalism or left-wing extremism or Maoism, so it mainly wants to overthrow the state through armed rebellion. Especially they will do violence, they will do guerrilla warfare and they want to throw out the state. So this is the ideology behind this Maoism or Naxalism. And this term Naxalism came from the area where it had been started. That area is Naxalbari village, which is present in West Bengal region. So at that time what happens, farmers started fighting against exploitative policies and that led to this Maoism or Naxalism. And if you see causes, why? First one is exploitation. Especially landless people, tenants, they had been exploited during that time. So it is one important reason that led to the growth of Naxalism. And second one is underdevelopment. Because of no proper development, there is no communication facilities, no improvement of standard of living. So this people will follow this Naxalism. And third important reason is poverty. So because of this poverty, there is increasing of deaths, mortality and poverty, health issues, other things. So because of this also that led to growth of Naxalism. And next one is tribal alienation. So whenever government is coming up with any developmental projects or any infrastructure projects, so obviously it will lead to displacement of people and especially tribal people will be getting alienated. That means they are shifted from one place to another place. So because of this tribal alienation also, that will lead to anger against government, distrust against government. So they will join this Naxals. And next one here is because of neglecting by the state, by the government. Government is neglecting some areas. So even though we are like very good in our economy, right? And we are good at our exports and imports, we are good at technology, everything. But even today also there are certain areas which are very remote, very underdeveloped, right? So because of this neglecting and because of this violence, especially police violence against these people, they will come and join this Naxalite groups. So what are the strategies they had been followed by our government of India so far to eliminate this Naxalism? So first one is development programs. Okay, especially in our constitution we have 7th schedule. What is the 7th schedule talks about? Different list. We have union list, state list and concurrent list. So when we divide this subjects into these 3 lists, then we can clearly say who have the power to make the laws, right? So we have 7th schedule of Indian constitution and especially police, public order will fall in the jurisdiction of state governments and state government will be taking care of this people or these areas which are affected by this Naxalism. And this one is Government of India came up with national policy and action plan to address this left-wing extremism in 2015. Especially we are focusing on improvement of security and as well as development initiatives and protection of community rights. And we are focusing on improving of road connectivity. For example, we have Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So where we are focusing on improving of roadways in village regions or rural areas. And next one is Roshini scheme, very important. And this scheme is focusing on training and employment opportunities for rural youth. Okay. And next one is we are also having this industrial training institutes and skill development centers so that we can promote employment opportunities in this left-wing affected areas. And especially they don't have proper education, right? So for this, government came up with this Ekalavya residential model schools. Okay, so that they are promoting education in this tribal blocks. Okay, next one is we have Universal Service Obligation Fund. It is also called as Digital Bharat Nidhi. So through this, it is focusing on improving of communication in left-wing extremism affected areas. And we have tribal youth exchange programs. And next one is regarding security operations. So one important operation is Operation Green Hunt. Please make a note. Operation Green Hunt. So we are focusing on deploying of paramilitary forces for eliminating of Naxalite presence. And this one is we have Cobra, we have Greyhounds. Okay, you have to see that. Okay, so that is the thing. And we have surrender cum rehabilitation policy. So under the surrender cum rehabilitation policy is nothing but, so earlier Naxalites, they'll come and they'll integrate with the mainstream society, they'll surrender to the polices. So because of this, they will get job opportunities and also they will be getting some financial things and they will be deployed in anti-Naxalite forces because they know where they placed the bombs. So now these people after surrendering, so they will go and they will remove that. So for that purpose, we are, this is very, very successful actually. And now we came up with this Operation Sankalp, so which had been started on April 21st. So what happened on April 22nd? Pahalgam terror issue, right? So Pahalgam terror issue and as well as this Operation Sankalp, they went on simultaneously. Okay, that is at India-Pakistan border and this is in this Red Corridor region. And it is based on intelligence reports. So finally they found out some senior cadres of this Maoist organizations where they are present and they attacked this Dandakaranya region. Very, very thick, bulky forest region. So in this region, we have this Maoist. So we went for this operation there. And see this image, what can you see? Elephants. So recently we discussed, did we discuss about this elephants? Why? Yeah, human-animal conflict. Elephants are killing humans. In which state? Any idea? Forgot. Very good. In which state 3 men were killed by elephants? I think 2 days ago we discussed. And I gave a mains question also on that. Human-animal conflict causes and measures. Tell me, Nikhil. No idea. Kiran? Hemant? He'll come every day. Tell me. Wow, what a memory. Just 2 days ago. Madhya Pradesh. In Madhya Pradesh, elephants killed 3 men. So because of this, we discussed the topic from human-animal conflict point of view. Okay. So actually here, these, you can see elephants images, right? This photo of elephants, right? So they are not ordinary elephants, they are trained elephants. And they are called as Kumki elephants. Kumki. So actually what is happening here is recently one memorandum of understanding which had been signed between 2 states, AP and Karnataka, regarding sending of these trained elephants from Karnataka to AP to control this human-animal conflict in Andhra Pradesh. Clear? So here you can get a question regarding this Kumki elephants. So recently Kumki elephants are seen in news. What are they? And whenever you are writing measures in that day's question, I gave you like what are the measures. So in that measures you have to add this point. So we can use Kumki elephants so that we can control this human-animal conflict like that. Okay. So from which subject it is important? Yes, from environment and ecology point of view, this article is important. And even because of this human-animal conflict, who is getting affected? Loss of life is happening. Can I add this from disaster management point of view? It is a new kind of disaster. and even society is getting impacted. Can we add one more new social issue? Yes, from all those subjects point of view, you can see this, guys. So why it is in news? Because yes, here now Karnataka government is sending Khumki elephants to Andhra Pradesh based on the memorandum of understanding to control elephant menace in AP. Okay, so actually they are going to deploy expert team for elephant capture, and even, do you know the person who rides elephant is called as? Elephant driver. Wow. That person is called as Mahout. Mahout is a person who leads this elephant. Okay, so Mahout training programs are there under this memorandum of understanding, and even knowledge transfer and standard operating procedure for capturing of animals. So all these are there in that agreement between AP and Karnataka. And actually Karnataka is very much famous for training of elephants, and so far it had sent around 62 trained elephants to different states like UP, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra and other states. So tell me, in which states we have huge number of elephants? In Karnataka. Karnataka has a huge number of elephants, and they are using this population of elephants for training, and they are sending to other countries. Okay. Now elephants from Karnataka are going to different states. Can we add this article from interstate cooperation and coordination? Yes? Yes or no? From that point of view also you can add this. So in your polity you will be having this topic called as interstate relations. So how the relations between states will go on. Okay, especially in that context we can use this. Like memorandum of understanding between Karnataka and AP that led to transfer of Khumki elephants to AP to control this wildlife conflict. So in this way, if you want to address certain problems, we need to have proper cooperation between the states also, not only between center and state, between states and states also we need good cooperation. For that you can add this example, right? Okay, so who are these Khumki elephants? Khumki is a term which is used in India to refer trained captive Asian elephants. So in elephants we have African elephants and as well as Asian elephants, right? In India we have both African and as well as Asian elephants, and these Khumki are trained Asian elephants, not African. So here UPSC can ask a question like, recently Khumki elephants are seen in news, they are trained African elephants. Is that statement right? No, they are trained Asian elephants. And they can capture, they can rescue and they can treat injured wild elephants as well as to drive them away from human settlements. So what they do is, so these are trained elephants, right? They know how to capture, how to rescue and how to treat injured elephants. So if you're keeping these trained elephants, Khumki elephants in the elephant groups, so they will try other elephants not to enter into this human settlements. And if some elephants are injured means they will be taking care of treatment of that elephants. Okay. So in this way we are going to reduce this human animal conflict in state of AP by introducing this Khumki elephants. Clear? Now see this article. Development of BrahMos missile with a longer range, NG variant on track. So NG is nothing but new generation. So we are going to have new generation of BrahMos soon. Okay, so that is there, but we don't know about what are the details of this new generation. So now it is your responsibility to see about what is this BrahMos missile. So what is the meaning of missile? What is the meaning of missile? What is a missile? It is not rocket, exactly. Rocket will be going into space. Will this missile will go into space? No, we will be just using that to attack other countries. That means it will be there within our atmosphere. It is not going to cross our atmosphere, right? So they are nothing but the instruments which are used for dropping of warheads. Okay, and they will be there in our atmosphere itself. If it crosses atmosphere, we can call it as rockets. Rockets are the launching vehicles which mainly used for crossing of our atmosphere. But missiles we are not using for crossing of atmosphere. They will be in our atmosphere and we will be using for dropping of warheads on other countries. Okay? Yes. So from which subject we can see this? From Science and Technology, from GS paper 3, we can see this, right? Here you can get prelims based question from this, not mains based question. And actually it is a joint venture between which and which countries? India and Russia. Okay. So this name BrahMos comes from two rivers. So which is a famous river in our country? Brahmaputra. BrahMos, it is the combination of word of Brahmaputra, and in Russia they have Moskova river. So it is a combination of two rivers. Okay, and it is combination of or a joint venture of India and as well as Russia. And the range here is 290 kilometers. If you're firing BrahMos here, it can hit the target which is there till 290 kilometers. And it is the world's fastest cruise missile. And the speed here is 2.8. 2.8 Mach is nothing but 2.8 times the speed of sound. Okay, very important. It is not the speed of light. It is speed of sound. Okay, it is named after Brahmaputra river in India and Moskova river of Russia. Very important. And it is a two-stage. We have solid propellant and liquid ramjet. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see the next article. What's the title says? Lion count grows by 32% in 5 years. Expands beyond protected areas. Okay. So this article is about, clearly saying about increasing of population of lion. Okay. And next word is protected areas. So now tell me in which state we can see more number of lions. Is it in Karnataka? Next. Yes, in Gujarat, in Gir forest region, we have good number of population of lions. And it is a one protected area. So actually this article is saying that 32% of increasing of lion population. So if population of lion will increase, do it need more area for survival or not? So because of this, they are not present in that area, even they are present in the extended protected area. So this is the meaning of this, okay? So whenever there is increasing of population of this so and so animal, so whatever the space that is allocated, it is not enough. And now they will be also seen in other areas. So this is the meaning of this title, clear? So from which subject we can say this? From GS paper 3, Environment and Ecology. Okay, so let us see the details. So you have to make the note of the details, guys. So India's Asiatic lion population confined exclusively to Gujarat. But now from last 5 years, 32% of increasing of this lion population is seen from 2020 to 2025. And total how many lions are there now in India? 891. 891 Asiatic lion population is seen in state of Gujarat. Okay, so actually if you see the highlights of this report, it is saying that especially female lion population grown by 27%. So what happens if female lion population increases? In future, the population of this lion will be increased or decreased? Increased, because who will reproduce? Females will reproduce, right? So here 27% of female lions population had been increased. And actually majority of lions are seen in two areas in Gujarat. First one is Gir National Park and next one is Pania Wildlife Sanctuary. Please make a note. So lion population is seen in Gir National Park and Pania Wildlife Sanctuary. But now they are also seen in other protected areas also. Okay. Yeah, so what is happening because of this increased lion population? Did it leads to human-animal conflict? Obviously, right? So now human-lion interaction is rising. Now there is increased human-lion interaction due to increased lion presence in this human settlements. So because of this, now we have to focus on how to decrease this human-animal conflict regarding this lion also. So actually our government of India launched one project called as Project Lion with 2,900 crore rupees. For what? For expansion of this habitat of this lion and as well as improvement of number of this lion. Okay. So you have to see about even Project Lion also. So what is Project Lion? So this project had been launched in 2020 and especially we are focusing on improving of the number of Asiatic lions. And especially habitat improvement we are focusing on and even advanced monitoring with radio collars, cameras, etc. And why we are focusing on these lions? Because the category of this lion is vulnerable. What is a vulnerable? Meaning, so there is decreasing of 30 to 50% of population within 3 decades. Okay. And apart from this Project Lion, we are also having other initiatives. You have to make a note, that is Indians Big Cat Alliance. International Big Cat Alliance in 2023 we came up. Under this, we are conserving 7 big cats. Yeah, that's it. And here sometimes UPSC can ask basic questions. Actually in 2023, they ask questions about squirrels, Indian squirrels, what they eat, where they live, like that. So you have to know some basic things also. Because if you are applying for even IFOS, same prelims will be there, no? You have to know about nature of animals. And even last year also they asked about the question regarding tigers and lions. Okay. So lions are the prides in grasslands. We can see those lions in only grasslands, not in evergreen forest. In evergreen forest we won't see this lions. We can see pythons, anacondas there. But in the grasslands we can see this. Okay, lions. And males, they will patrol and they proclaim their territory through scent marking. So actually the question was in 2024, it is about scent marking. Okay, lions will proclaim their territory by using their scent marking. And females and sisters, they stay together for life. And males leave at maturity. Males leave the family at the maturity. But females and sisters, they will stay together. There is unity in females, not in males. And lions, they rest or sleep for 20 hours per day, and they will hunt at night for easier prey capture. Okay, and the gestation period is 100 days to 119 days. Okay. The next article, see this. Warming likely to make cyclones more destructive than ever before. What is the keyword? From geography? Cyclones. What happens in cyclones? First step, depression. Next, low pressure area. And the wind will come from high pressure to low pressure area. And because of this Coriolis force, they will move in anti-clock or clockwise direction based on southern hemisphere or northern hemisphere. And what happens? Air raises up, water in vapor form raises up. Form of which clouds? Cumulonimbus clouds. And that will lead to heavy rainfall, thundering, lightning. And these cyclones, will they stay in one place? No, they'll move in which direction? First west, northwest, north direction. And it will be causing destruction across coast. Okay? Yeah. So one more keyword, warming. What is warming? Increasing of global temperature, right? So why there is increasing of global temperature? What might be the reasons? Yes, because of vehicular emissions. Next. Because of industrial pollution. Next. Deforestation. Very good. Next. Carbon emissions. Next. Greenhouse gases, greenhouse emissions. Okay, because of all these things, there is increasing of global warming. So, because of increasing of global warming, is there any link with cyclones? What is that link? Because of increasing of global temperature, what happens? Depression or low pressure area will be formed very easily or very difficult? Very easy. So, because of this, what happens? Intensity of the cyclones will be increased or decreased? That is the answer. That is this article. So, this article is saying that because of increasing of temperature, it is going to make cyclones more destructive. There is nothing but intensity of the cyclones will be very high. Why intensity? Now these clouds will store more amount of water than usual. So because of this, will it cause more rainfall or less rainfall? More rainfall. So if low pressure area is created more, for example, do you know this pressure gradient force? PGF. So what does this pressure gradient force says? Winds always move from high pressure to low pressure, right? I'll give you examples. Now you have to tell the answer. So here pressure is 10 and here pressure is 20. Here pressure is 10 and here pressure is 40. where the wind movement will be fast. This is first case and this is second case. In second case, there will be fast movement of winds, right? So whenever the difference between the high pressure and low pressure is more, then what happened? The speed is more. So because of warming, what happens? Obviously, this gap will be increased or decreased? Increased. So because of this wind movement or wind speed will be more. So whenever the wind speed is more, will it be more destructive or less destructive? That is the answer. Clear? So answer you only gave. So because of increasing of warming, what happens? Easy formation of depression. Because of this, more amount of water will be stored in the cumulonimbus clouds, leads to heavy rainfall, first scenario. And second one is because of global warming, that will lead to the huge gap between high pressure and low pressure. Because of this, the intensity of winds will blow very, very high. So because of this very speed winds, that will cause destruction, right? So whenever you are watching news channels, especially during this cyclones formation, you will see wind flows with 90 kilometers per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, 140 kilometers per hour. You will be getting early warnings, right? So it is because of the difference of pressure, okay? Based on the difference of pressure, the wind movement will be there. And because of this wind speed, only lots of destruction happens across the coast. Okay, is that clear? Okay, see this article. Development without the savaging of urban biodiversity. So what is the keyword? Is there any keyword that is directly there in your syllabus? Biodiversity. From which subject? From environment and ecology, you have this topic called as biodiversity. Okay, what is the meaning of bio? Let us break this. Bio means life. Diversity is nothing but different. Okay, different life. For example, we have cats, we have dogs, we have snakes, squirrels, lions, tigers. Huge biodiversity, that is huge range of different animals or different life which is present on our earth, right? Okay, so this article is directly talking about urban biodiversity. So what does urban areas means? Okay, cities, right. So why we have to talk about urban biodiversity now? So if you compare with rural areas and urban biodiversity, what is the difference? Pollution is high in urban areas. Okay, I'm talking about life. What is the difference of life between rural areas and urban areas? Biodiversity is more in rural areas compared to urban areas. Can you give me some examples? Okay, crops, agriculture. Forest, okay, very good. Next, trees, tree cover. Okay, so let me explain this. So this article is talking about biodiversity. Okay, so what is the meaning of biodiversity? Biodiversity is nothing but the variability or the different life forms that are present on our earth is called as biodiversity. Actually, every year on May 22nd, we will celebrate International Biodiversity Day. So because of this article is there in news. So please make a note, May 22nd. May 22nd is International Day for Biodiversity. Okay, so if you say this biodiversity, it is nothing but the variety and variability of life which is present on earth, in simple words. So is this biodiversity important or not? For what? We need chickens, especially on Sunday. Chicken fried with different names. Chicken 65, tandoori. Next. Why we need biodiversity? Yes, food chain, food web. Only for food? From where you will get oxygen? From plants, from trees. For survival, we need plants. Next. The chairs you are sitting on are made up of wood. Next. Wood comes from? For nothing but for satisfying of all your needs, you need this biodiversity. Yes? Okay, so actually this biodiversity is very, very essential for human well-being. And in return, we have to even focus on environmental health. So if environment is balanced, then only we will be getting fruits from that, or else we will be succumb into the disaster which is caused because of damaging of our environment. And for economic prosperity for our country, for example, you studied about mineral resources in yesterday's class in your geography, right? So for our economic prosperity also, this is very, very important, right? Okay, so actually this article is saying that sustainable development is very, very important even in this biodiversity, but we are missing that because of this lots of challenges that we are facing in our life. For example, 3 people, they were killed by elephants in MP, right? Why? Because there is no proper sustainable environment there. Because of lack of food, lack of water, everything, elephants are coming out and they are entering into these human settlements, right? So if you are focusing on sustainable environment, if we are ensuring that proper availability of food and water is there in that so and so habitat of elephant, will these elephants come out? Will they cause damage to the people? Will they cause damage to the crops? No, right? So that is the thing which is saying in this article. So actually this article is saying that biodiversity which is present on our earth, it is on threat. Around 25% of species of animals and as well as plants, they are facing verge of extinction. Please make a note. 25% of species of animals and plants, they are at verge of extinction now. So on this day, we are especially promoting harmony with nature and sustainable development. Okay, especially they are focusing on urban areas. So urban areas, they are having more climate impacts. Yes or no? Because of more pollution, because of more population, because of lack of sustainability, because of lack of green spaces, because of urban heat islands. So all are the lots of problems they are there in these urban areas. Because of this, urban areas will have lots of impacts. So to combat or to prevent this kind of climate impacts, we can go for increasing of afforestation in this urban areas. So it is a one important solution that we have to take. So whenever we are improving this green spaces, then what happens? Air quality will be improved or not? Yes. And even noise pollution will be decreased or not? Yes. And even if there are any landslides like things, can be controlled with this afforestation or not? Yes. Okay, so we can also improve psychological health of the people or not? Okay, and next one here is this article is saying that we have to focus on United Nations Habitat 330 and 300 prescription. Please make a note. United Nations UN Habitats 330 and 300 prescription is very, very important and we have to follow this. So what is this formula is, every home or workplace or school, they should have at least 3 established trees. So in your home or in your place of work or like in your school or place wherever you're going, so at least we need to have 3 established trees. That is first 3. And 30 is nothing but neighborhood should have minimum 30% of tree canopy cover and public green space. Okay, 30 is nothing but 30% of tree canopy which should be there in your nearby surroundings. And 300 is nothing but, so at least there should be a public green path within 300 meters walk. Okay, so if you are maintaining that in your urban areas, yes, we can address air pollution problem, we can address psychological problems, and as well as noise pollution we can reduce. So we can improve overall standard of living of the people. Okay, we have to follow this. Do we have all these things? So imagine at least near your home you have at least 3 trees. Okay. So this article is saying that we need to also follow this city biodiversity index. So this index will be helpful for monitoring and as well as improving of urban biodiversity. And one case study they gave, write down this case study example. So Chennai came up with market greening, and it is focusing on urban biodiversity enhancement through local efforts and partnership. They're coming up with partnership with the people and local people, and they're going for greening of their city. Okay, so this is about this article, guys. And let us see the next article, very, very interesting. So see the title, Overfishing, the threat to ocean wealth, livelihoods. So what is the meaning of overfishing? Overfishing. Fishing more than required, it is called as overfishing. What is overeating? Rather than what is required, you are eating more. Overeating, overfishing. Okay, now tell me what are the threats of this overfishing? It is a mains question, guys. Okay, from which subject we can see this? From geography we can see, from environment and ecology we can see, from society we can see, from disaster management we can see, right? Okay, what is overfishing? Overfishing refers to a practice of catching more fish than the population can reproduce, leading to what happens? Declining of fish population. Okay, for example, let us take a fish can give or lay 100 eggs, but we are catching 200 fishes. So what is happening? So entire population of these fishes is getting decreased. This process is called as overfishing. Clear? So overfishing is nothing but we are catching more fish than the population can reproduce. So what is the impact? The first one is fishing population will be getting decreased. So in future we won't have fishes. Okay, only we have to see in YouTube or like Google or in the books that this is fish. But there is no fish to taste the fish. And next one is it will lead to imbalance in the ecosystem. So if entire fish community is eliminating or extincting, means what happened? The other animals which is depending on this will be getting affected. So overall food chain and food web will be getting disturbed. That will lead to ecological imbalance. And what about the habitat? Habitat will be entirely destructed. And this one is biodiversity. Loss of fishes, which comes under part of biodiversity, that will lead to the biodiversity loss. So these are the impacts of this overfishing. So you can think with the general knowledge also. Okay, what are the steps which are taken by the government to protect marine life and restore fishing population? So first one is government introduced sustainable fishing practices. Okay, and especially government implemented fishing quotas and creating marine reserves and using certain fishing methods, banning of bottom trawling methods. So these are the steps taken by the government. And we also promoted responsible consumption. We have to consume within the limits, not more than that. And we are focusing on supporting of marine conservation efforts. Especially we are focusing on protecting of marine life. And even government is focusing on investing on this aquaculture also. Okay, so these are the steps taken by the government so far. And see this article, guys. Should water be used as a weapon? Where water is used as a weapon? Yes, very good. Indus Water Treaty. So why India stopped it, or why India is violating this Indus Water Treaty? Because of Pahalgam issue. Okay. So see here, in the wake of terror attacks which had been done by TRF, the Resistance Front in Pahalgam issue, so India stopped sharing of Indus water with this Pakistan, right? So actually, is this issue with only India and Pakistan, like water sharing issue? No, not only in India and Pakistan, even in Europe also they have water issues. For example, Hungary and Czechoslovakia, they have the issue regarding sharing of Danube river. So please make a note. Like Indus water issue, other case study is river Danube between Hungary and Czechoslovakia. So you have to use this kind of examples. And if you get any question regarding water sharing issue between different countries, now you can also add that, right, Danube river between Hungary and Czechoslovakia, and use Google and try to write other examples of water issues between different countries and which river is that, and try to see the location of that river, because UPSC can ask a question regarding this kind of questions. So like consider the following pairs and they'll give Indus water treaty between India and China. Next one is a Danube river issue between Hungary and Czechoslovakia. Like that, one more river, one more pair. and they will ask you to find out the correct pairs. So Indus water treaty is between India and China or India and Pakistan. Now you will say, but in examination hall, India and China, yes, right. You'll do that kind of mistakes for sure because of that anxiety, examination tension, examination fear, and that's so it's the environment of examination. So you should not do that. Okay, like that. You have to prepare for your prelims. Okay, so try to make the list of other inter-country water issues and which river is that, and see the map also. Okay, so this article is saying that water is not just strategic asset, but it is a basic human right. Yes or no? So without water, can you sustain at least 4 to 5 hours? Imagine in your hostel if water is not coming, especially this problem in Ashok Nagar, right? Water problem. Now imagine for 4 hours or 5 hours there is no water for drinking, for washing, for bathroom or anything. Water is not there. And what you'll do? You'll get irritation. Then what about these people? Can we use it as a weapon? Is that ethically right? So this is the question which mainly asked here. So water is not just a strategic asset, it is a basic human right. Using it as an instrument of retaliation, now it is raising ethical questions. Okay, think on this issue. Is it correct or not? Sometimes correct, sometimes not correct. Okay. Okay, so this will be also an interview question, guys, for sure. So they'll ask like, stopping of sharing of Indus water between India and Pakistan, is that right according to you or not? What is your opinion? So like that also you will be getting interview questions and you have to think from that point of view also. Okay, clear? So now again you have to revise about what is this Indus water treaty, where is this Indus river originates, and which are the right bank and left bank tributaries, and important dams, important lakes, and in which states you are flowing, where you are meeting. Okay, try to make a map on this. So these are the important articles that appear in our today's Hindi newspaper, guys. So by this I'm concluding. So before concluding, I want to remind again about the scholarship test on offline. So please do register, guys, only for offline, not for online this time. Only for offline. The test is on 27th May at 10 AM in our institute in Ashok Nagar. And do register for sure, guys. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathod's Eyes.